Hey everyone, and welcome to episode number 7. This week we're going to talk about the CEO scam. What we're going to do, just like we do every episode, we're going to take a story that's happened in the news. We're going to take a story that's maybe happened within Shield and one of its clients, and in 90 seconds talk about what happened, talk about some of the fallout, and then we're going to follow up with practical ways to protect yourself and protect your company. Let's get rolling. All right, today we're going to talk about the CEO scam. Now, the CEO scam is something of a conglomeration of items we've actually spoke about previously in other episodes, but I wanted to talk about this one specifically because it is so rampant and companies are still falling for it. So, our cybersecurity story today, last summer, we were approached by a company that their CEO had gone on vacation down to Florida. While down there, the accountant received an email that appeared to be from the CEO stating that he forgot to pay a bill. It was urgent. It had been sitting with him for a while and he forgot to forward it and to pay it. And it looked legitimate. Not only did it look like it came from his email address, but the way that the CEO typed, he used a lot of what's called ellipses, the 3 dots that come after when you type a sentence. He used that a lot. So, please pay this invoice, ... So it even replicated the way that person typed. So the accountant received that email. They entered in the invoice. They actually would have paid it. The only reason that they didn't pay it was because there was 2 possible accounts they could have paid that from. So the accountant picked up the phone, called the CEO and said, hey, which account do you want me to pay this invoice for? And of course, his reaction was, what invoice? What are you talking about? Otherwise, it would have been paid. The money would have been gone. So actually, we're going to have, our story's a little quicker today, which is great. So just to wrap up, how did this happen and what could be done to prevent it? So some really great practical things. We found that CEO had actually shared his itinerary and what he was going to be doing on social media. So someone was out there watching him, someone that knew his habits, had potentially received his email. So avoid posting your travel details, especially if you're a person with a lot of clout or financial power at a company. Avoid sharing that information on social media. In fact, we really highly recommend no one shares their information, travel information on social media. That could be for simple reasons like theft, letting people know that you may not be at your house. But from a business perspective, it offers the opportunity for social engineering. Secondly, urgency. Again, I mentioned this in a previous video. Anything that asks for any sort of urgency, in this case it was a late payment, they had to get it done right away. And thirdly, having some sort of verification means, especially for one-off sort of payments, pick up the phone, call the company, make sure it's legitimate, verify with someone else in your organization that this is a legitimate item that should be paid. So having some sort of secondary process to make sure that the requests for money are legitimate. They are so clever. They are being paid to essentially fool us, right? And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry now, especially in terms of ransomware and getting you to click on links and that sort of thing that we've talked about before. So being aware, right? They have every incentive to fool us, to encrypt us, to send us malware. So that's my practical advice for today. Implement those, secure yourself, and we'll talk again next week. Have a great day.